日本時間2月23日、米国時間2月22日、ロサンゼルス、ドジャースはサンフランシスコ、ジャイアンツとの一戦に臨んだ。シリーズ序盤でつまずいたドジャースにとって、この試合はまさに負けられない一戦となった。注目はやはり大谷翔平だ。この日は先発投手としてマウンドに立ちながら、打線ではリードオフマンとして出場。投打の両面でチームを牽引する完全二刀流が実現し、すべての視線が背番号17に集まった。マウンド上の大谷は圧巻の投球を披露。100マイル近い速球と多彩な変化球で相手打線を封じ、リーグ屈指の投手としての存在感を改めて示した。一方、打撃では本塁打こそ出ていないものの、連続出塁記録を伸ばし続け、リードオフとしての役割を果たしている。また、この試合をめぐっては、大谷ルールへの議論も再燃。二刀流選手が投手枠に含まれない特例に対し、一部からは不公平との声も上がるが、ドジャース側は、特別な才能ゆえの特例との立場を示している。試合の行方を左右する大谷の一挙手一投足。番組ではこの後、試合の詳細と現地の反応をお届けする。ぜひ最後までご覧いただきたい。
Buddy, welcome to Leadoff LA. John Hartung alongside Jerry Hairston Jr., Nomar Garcia-Parr. Not a very good start for the Dodgers in this three-game series against the rival Giants, Jerry. And now they're faced with a situation where if they want to win this series and if they want to have a winning road trip, it's an important game tonight.
No, it's not an important game, John. It is a must-win tonight. They understand that you have to get back in this series to have a chance to win this series. Without a doubt, must win. Get it done.
Hey, you wanted to get game one, especially when you had your ace on the hill, you know, and they let that one go. Obviously, they're looking at it themselves. But listen, you got the big show on the hill today. You have to go out there and get this one.
All right, well, the Dodgers do need a bounce-back performance from their offense as we get our first look at Dave Roberts' lineup. To go up against Giants right-hander Tyler Mahle, the starting pitcher, is also your leadoff hitter tonight with Shohei Ohtani, followed by Kyle Tucker. Will Smith does the catching. Freddie Freeman batting cleanup. Teoscar Hernandez will be in left field hitting fifth, and it's Max Muncy at third. Andy Pages back out there in center field. Hae-Sung Kim starting at short, and Miguel Rojas Jerry batting ninth, playing second base.
I'm looking at the big show right there, leading off. Yes, he's a designated hitter. How about you help out your pitcher show? How about 1-0 right away? Put something on the board, help lead this offensive attack. Let's go.
Listen, one of the strongest lineups they've had this year as far as overall from offensive perspective and the way these guys are hitting. I mean, the way it is set up, obviously you're missing Mookie Betts, but the way this is set up, you're even moving Andy Pages down back into the seventh spot.
Well, when Shohei pitched last Wednesday against the New York Mets, he did not DH in that game because he had been hit by a pitch near his shoulder just 2 days earlier. And it's worth noting that he has not hit a home run since he was hit by that pitch. In fact, his last home run came 10 days ago. But Nomar, he's still getting on base, and it's good to see him back in the lineup on the same day that he is pitching.
Yeah, listen, him not hitting a home run, I don't think has to do anything with him getting hit by the pitch. I think that's just circumstances. And obviously, I think teams are very careful in which they are pitching Shohei Ohtani because they know with one hand he can still hit one out of the ballpark. So I think that's more of a factor. But as you mentioned, he is still getting on base. That's the job of a leadoff hitter, finding ways to get on. Still has his streak going on at 53 games. So he is doing just that. I think it's just a matter of time. The ball's going to start carrying out of the ballpark for him, so I'm not too worried about that. Just keep getting on base, keep being a threat, and now we're just asking him, go out there and keep pitching great.
Yeah, this is solid numbers you see right there as a leadoff hitter, but he hasn't caught fire yet. Usually, historically, April is not his month as far as swinging the bat. When it turns to May, that's his month to really shine. So he understands, continue having good at-bats. That's the most important thing. I think he'll be on the base a couple times tonight.
All right, and he even said it a couple of weeks ago that usually April is a slower, colder month for him, and he starts to get hot once we get to May. Dalton Rushing, he filled in for Shohei Ohtani as the DH when he started last week against the Mets. Shohei told Rushing, go out there and hit a home run for him. So Rushing obliged by hitting his first career grand slam. Tonight, the big show is back to his two full-time jobs. Kirsten Watson is with the Dodgers in San Francisco, and she joins us live with more on Shohei. Hi, Kirsten.
Hi, John. Well, in that last outing, as you guys mentioned, with Shohei Ohtani only serving as the pitcher, not his usual two-way self as the pitcher and the DH, that was the first time we saw him do that in Dodger blue. But of course, the question has remained, is it something that they might consider, especially considering Shohei Ohtani is getting older? He's still heating things up offensively, but he really has been excellent on the mound. Dave Roberts talked about just that and all the things that he's taking into consideration this afternoon.
I think probably the thing that stood out is his consistency to execute his entire pitch mix. There's a four-seamer, there's a two-seamer in there, the curveball to slow the hitter down, the sweeper. So, yeah, he just in the split. So he's just got really good feel right now.
How much is there a conversation moving forward about not having him hit like he did in his last start? He has 60 at-bats since he started pitching with you guys. His batting average is .217. He has 2 home runs. He's 31 years old now. How much of a open conversation is there between you and Andrew and Shohei?
We haven't had the conversation. If you look at the overall numbers, it's certainly something I still feel really good about putting his name in the lineup. I know the last start I chose not to have him hit and just pitch, and I am open to it, and you know, we'll see. But it's something that we've certainly flagged, but I think overall we've still, and also you have to look at what's the option. And I think in years past or last year, you got to kind of weigh who's a different option. Well, now at least you can say that Dalton's swinging a good bat, and to keep him, consistently getting some at bats could be helpful. But like I said, I'm going to continue to keep an eye on it.
So while that last outing for Shohei Ohtani was essentially an outlier of an occasion, Dave Roberts has shared that it is something that they're watching, they're open to it, but right now they're going to continue with him as truly being that two-way player. For Shohei, as Dave Roberts was saying, he has been excellent, a .50 ERA through his first 3 starts, really seeing the swing and miss in his last one, and Dave has shared that he just feels that Shohei Ohtani has his full pitch mix today, has his full pitch mix this season, of course, just being healthy and being able to get deeper into the games. So for today, they do want him to serve as that stopper to not only just salvage this road trip, to have them in a position to leave coming out of San Francisco in a position where they could have multiple wins on this trip, but also in a way to salvage the series, guys.
All right, he can help the Dodgers salvage this series with his arm and also with his bat in this game. Kirsten, thank you very much. And speaking of the arm, Shohei, the pitcher, is 2-0 in his first 3 starts. The ERA 0.50. That ranks #1 in the National League. Also leads the NL in WHIP at 0.72. Opponents' batting average at $113, and opponents' OPS. Now, this is the first time Shohei has pitched a full season along with DHing since he came to the Dodgers. So it's possible that we don't see it 54 or 55 homer season. Jared wouldn't put it past him. But what we've seen early on is a guy that does look like a legit Cy Young candidate.
Yeah, he has been outstanding. I love the rhythm and tempo to that delivery. When he's in the windup, in the stretch, he'll slide stuff. He'll do a normal leg kick. But I love the way he mixes and matches his pitches. He's got 3 different shapes to his breaking ball. Love seeing that nasty split. He understands. I really believe now, entering his prime both as a hitter and as a pitcher, he understands how hard it is to hit. And he's making sure he's varying the looks for the hitters, because I'm sure as a hitter himself, he don't like different looks. So he's using that to his advantage.
It's really incredible when you look at the numbers, what he's done on the mound, and we already know what he can do at the plate, but what he's done on the mound, just when, not only managing and commanding that fastball, but it's really just setting up the breaking ball, which if you look at the numbers over all 3 of his breaking balls, they've really been unhittable throughout this entire season. So on the mound, he looks outstanding. But I'll tell you, I kind of liked his last outing where he didn't have to hit. It's nice that you have guys, the way they're swinging the bat, like Dalton Rush and all that, where this is something that they might consider. I know Dave's monitoring this as well, but at the same time, sometimes you have to save a stud or a star from himself and maybe just say, hey, listen, on these days, we do have guys who are supplying the bats, who can kind of fill in on these days where you can just focus in on pitching. I know he doesn't like to hear that. I know he likes to do both, and I'm not saying that, but at the same time, I hope guys continue swinging the bat more and more, so it gives them that option. And also Dave go, listen, it might be on these days, just take a break from hitting and go focus on pitching.
Let's be real about it. Throwing 90 or 100 pitches in a game, that has to take a lot out of
no
him
doubt.
because you see him sometimes on the mound breathing heavily.
Yeah.
And that's just all a factor.
And the other thing you mentioned about the power, like, listen, the power's going to be there, but we see him not stealing as much either as well. You're like, hey, we got to make sure, take it easy on that as well. So all those things factor in. So, yeah, I think there's going to be some discussion as the season progresses.
All right, so the pitching side's been really, really good to start the year. Then there's Shohei, the offensive force. Had an infield single last night to extend his on-base streak to 53 games, tying him with Sean Green for the second longest streak in franchise history, now just 5 away from tying Duke Snider's record of 58 games in a row set back in 1954. And while the on-base plus slugging, the OPS, is down quite a bit from the last couple of years with the Dodgers, it's still early. And Nomar, he's certainly doing the on-base part, and he's doing it at a record rate.
That's what you want. He's leadoff. You know, that's what you want from your leadoff hitter. And he's getting on base. And, yeah, we know he can slug. We understand that. It's not there. You know, maybe he'd be able to, maybe he'd slug a little more if you moved him somewhere else too. You just never know. So at the same time, you still have a job to do at the top of the lineup, and job number 1 is to get on base. That's what you want your leadoff hitter. Set the tone for the offense, especially a impressive offense like the Dodgers, and he's doing that. Whether he's going the other way, he'll get his pitch where he's going to be driving out of the ballpark. But he's doing his job, and then, like I said, today we get to watch both jobs with him on the mound as well.
Yeah, he does a great job. You mentioned Nomar getting on base. This guy can flat out swing the bat. And again, he's having good numbers right now. Is it Shohei numbers? No, not yet. But he hasn't gotten hot yet. Yeah. You know he will get hot very soon.
And with this lineup, do you want him is it always just about him slug? Do you need him to slug? You shouldn't. With this lineup, you shouldn't need him to slug. Right. You know, you need him to get on. That's what he's doing.
All right, well, much more to come. Miguel Rojas batting 9th tonight against the Giants. We will also have more on Miggy Rowe and his Game 7 World Series home run and why analytics never account for heart, and that has helped fire him up.
All right, John, it's a beautiful day here in San Francisco for the middle game of this 3-game series, the Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants. And we welcome inside Joe Davis and Al Hershiser. The Dodgers trying to tie this series up at a game apiece. Really their first rough patch of the year, 2-3 so far on this trip.
Yeah, overall, this is going to be a disappointing road trip if they don't win this night game and then the day game tomorrow. Make it a happy flight and win these 2.
Getting the full Shohei Ohtani experience, aren't we? He's got the 53-game on-base streak, the second longest in franchise history. He starts on the mound tonight, and he's been the best pitcher in the National League so far.
You know what? He is a superstar, and it's amazing what's going on with this hitting streak as far as reaching base, because he doesn't really have his A swing. But with elite ability and just an average swing, he is still getting it done, sometimes down to last at bat and 3-2 counts. But he's also going to pitch today, doing both, and this guy's arm this year is on fire. The average fastball is up, the ability to throw the breaking ball is there, the split finger is working, and he is making people look sick. Doesn't matter if he throws a first pitch strike or if what he's going to do. What he's going to do is get you out, and we can see by that batting average at 113, he's mowing people down, Joe.
Struck out 10 Mets in his last start. What was different about that one is that he did not hit, but he's back in there tonight, Kirsten.
Yeah, Joe, he's back to his two-way duty. But of course, the big question, considering how good he was on the mound in his last outing, is that something they might continue to consider? Having him on his start days only serve as the pitcher and not the true two-way guy that he is. And that last one, they had Dalton rushing in as the DH. But Dave Roberts said today, while everything is on the table, even potentially moving him out of the leadoff spot when he's on his start days, they like where he's at right now. Yes, of course, he's still getting hot offensively, but who that guy is on the mound, he has been excellent. And today he's going up against a team that he has great numbers against, a 1-0 record against the Giants, a 0.60 ERA. So the hope for today is that he can continue that, but also be the stopper for this Dodgers team, guys.
All right, Kirsten, as he and the Dodgers try to tie this series up at a game apiece and set up a rubber match for tomorrow, the Dodgers and the Giants. First pitch from San Francisco coming up on Sportsnet LA. Here he comes with the 2-2 to Adames. There it is, a fastball to get him looking. He picks up where he finished off his last start, striking out the side to finish off that 10K performance. He got a strikeout of Adames to start tonight.
He doesn't elevate with velocity. He just pinpoints the corner.
Here's his payoff pitch to Chapman, and he keeps that going. Second strikeout of this first inning. 1 for 37, 20 Ks.
One with the fastball low and away. Now a sweeper low and away. Same location, different movement.
See, if he goes after Rafael Devers the way the Dodgers did a lot of the time last night, that's just four seamers coming right at him. That is what he starts him with. Downstairs, ball one, turn it up to 100 for Devers. Ohtani's ahead 0-2, and he finishes him off with a sweeper. He gets 3 Ks in the inning, and both teams strand 2 in the first.
Craig Counsell of the Cubs doesn't like the Shohei Ohtani rule, called it probably the most bizarre rule for one team. Counsell, again, with the Cubs, Ohtani with the Dodgers. The rule, essentially, you can see the full quote, allows Ohtani to not count as a pitcher on the Dodgers roster. You're allowed in Major League Baseball to have 13. So Ohtani makes it 14 in the real world, but he's also the DH. Where are you on this?
Well, Craig Counsell's one of the smartest guys we have in baseball, and it makes sense in what he's looking at. It gives the Dodgers an advantage. Now, I know there's only one singular player like Ohtani, and the Dodgers have him, so it's hard to think about that. But I don't think a new rule should have been made. And because he starts every 6th day now, he should count as a pitcher as well.
I think he should.
I think he should.
But that discourages that, and I disagree with you in that there are a lot of guys littering the landscape. Nolan McLean is one, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Could be a hitter. Who am I thinking of? That's Michael Lorenzen is still active in the major leagues,
right.
and he can hit. Jack Caglione can pitch. So if you want to encourage it, say, hey, you won't count as a pitcher, and that's an advantage for the club. Otherwise, you can see it is a disadvantage to make Ohtani hit and pitch. It's just that it doesn't seem to affect him.
Well,
except when he's injured.
They have the one singular player, but it cost them $700 million for that.
Yeah.
So not every team, I think, can get that player, even if they wanted him.
But I'd say Michael Lorenzen, let's say, if you wanted to make him a two-way player and say, he'll cost us a pitcher spot, if you can make him hit a little bit, he doesn't cost you, it might encourage you to do that.
It might. There's not going to be another player like Ohtani for a long time who's a top 5 hitter.
Well, if we discourage it, then no, not top 5, but a guy just do it actively
10, 15,
and not do
whatever.
Right.
I just think that there should never be different rules for different teams.
Major League's never. Well, it's not a different rule for the team. It's for that player.
It is, but the rule wasn't like that.
It wasn't there.
Exactly.
And then it came in. When they needed it. And we can disagree on something now and then. We just we're loggerheads here. We'll revisit that. All right, we'll take a short break. When we come back.
Craig Counsell said something yesterday which helped remind me why I love him so much. There is a rule in baseball that for those paying attention, so I'd say that 26% of you remember when I explained the Ohtani rule in baseball. The Ohtani rule is a rule that says that Shohei Ohtani does not count on your active roster as a pitcher. He has his own designation, which means the Dodgers, by rule, can carry an extra actual pitcher than any other team in baseball. Because the rule in baseball, there's a limit to the number of pitchers you can have on your team, and every team goes to the limit. But the Dodgers get one extra pitcher because Ohtani doesn't count toward that limit. And I've told you that I find that to be objectionable, and that if I were still in the game, I would be saying to the baseball operations people within the commissioner's office that this rule needs to be brought up to a change. And I would be counting votes, trying to get 22 other clubs to agree with me, and I can't imagine that I would have that much of a problem doing it. Except you don't talk about it, because Shohei Ohtani is the best player in baseball. Shohei Ohtani is the most marketable player in baseball. Shohei Ohtani has added to the GDP of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Shohei Ohtani is the face of how you monetize baseball in Japan and, frankly, maybe in the U.S. So everyone has to stay quiet. Well, Craig Counsell finally has had enough. He came out and said, in discussing the rule where two-way players don't count against this 13-pitcher roster limit, he said, quote, and then there's one team that's allowed to carry basically one of both, and that he gets special consideration, which is probably the most bizarre rule for one team. How true is that? What other rules in professional sports exist for the benefit of one of the member teams of the league. So this message got to Dave Roberts. And for whatever reason, Dave Roberts felt compelled to comment. Andrew Friedman asked him to comment, which I don't believe happened. Stan Kasten asked him to comment, which I don't believe happened. I believe Dave Roberts is operating solo here, but listen to what he said in response.
The thing is that it certainly benefits us because we have the player, but that's something that regardless of any team that would have Ohtani would have that player, and we're more than willing to have other teams go out and find a player that can do both. So he's an exception because he's an exceptional player. So yeah, I mean it is what it is.
Nah. I'm not sure that's really going to help the Dodgers in their case to keep that rule in place. Hey, we got Ohtani's fantastic. Go find your own Ohtani. Hey, I got my own food. Go get your own food. It's really not how it works in baseball from the commissioner's standpoint when you've got 30 teams who are supposed to be operating the same way. And let's make sure that the best teams are great because of intelligence. That's the whole thing that's going on with collective bargaining. Let's make sure that the teams who stink because their front offices stink or because their players stink. Let's make sure that teams don't stink because they don't have a chance to be good. That's the general principle that we're talking about in baseball. The Los Angeles Dodgers, the outlier Los Angeles Dodgers, the crushing economic engine that is the Los Angeles Dodgers, the last thing Rob Manfred wants right now is the manager of said team to go out and thumb his nose at the rest of the teams. I would think that Dave Roberts would have had a smarter answer when being confronted with Craig Counsell's concern. And all he needed to say is, man, do we feel lucky that this rule exists. That's it. You don't have to impugn other teams' scouting bureau for not finding another two-way player. You don't have to point out that, hey, we got him fair and square, especially given the fact that you're paying $70 million a year, but only 2 today and 68 deferred, which no other team would be able to do. You have to really pay attention. And it's hard to be in front of the media every day. It's hard. It's hard to deal with it every day. There's so much that goes on. And of course you feel insulated because there's people who don't pay attention to what the manager says. But on the other hand, there's an entire subset of people where there's a lot of downside if you say it wrong. The least of which is me pointing it out.
今回も最後までご視聴いただき、本当にありがとうございました。動画の内容を楽しんでいただけたでしょうか。もしよろしければ、チャンネル登録と高評価をお願いいたします。皆さんの応援が今後の動画制作の大きな励みになります。それではまた次回の動画でお会いしましょう。